Before we start today, I have to tell you about State Farm agent Brian McDevitt. A lot of our listeners have gone to him for all their insurance needs, and he's been very helpful in getting them the coverage they deserve. There's no games with Brian. He's just here to help and make sure you feel safe. So if you have insurance needs and you haven't called him yet, what are you waiting for? Dial up the number, 630-796-2662. That's 630-796-2662. Or find him online at ryanismyagent.com. That's ryanismyagent.com. And make sure to mention Sports Talk Chicago. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I want to start today with this. Why are we so impatient? Why are we so easy to worry, to be concerned, to fear? What happened to faith? What happened to trusting the process? What happened to realizing that there are ebbs and flows in life? Not just in baseball, football, life. There are times you lose your job. There are times in which you get a raise. Everything always has a way of balancing itself out over time. So my question is, why don't we realize that? Why don't we know and have faith that things will be okay? This is probably the fourth video I've done now in radio program about the White Sox and the concerns surrounding their team. The quote-unquote concerns, because really there are none. At first, they started 8-9, and everyone said it's Russa. Then the Youre Mercedes incident, another Russa issue. Then the team not doing well enough when it came to the Pythagorean win-loss. And again, I told you, don't worry about it. Now we have a pretty interesting situation. The White Sox have lost 5 straight. They remain 2 games up in the AL Central Division race. And everybody's panicking once again. What are we supposed to do? Who are we supposed to blame? Calm down. I told you this back in April. I told you again in May. I told you again earlier this month. Calm down. There is no need to panic or fear with this team. They're too talented. And you know it as well as I do. Way too talented to be panicking. See, if I were a Cubs fan, I'd panic, right? 38-33, they still lead the division, but we all know the talent isn't really there. This Sox team is 10 times, 20 times more talented than the Cubs. Just a fact. Their lineup still is all above average. Everybody in the starting lineup, with the exception of Andrew Vaughn and Adam Eaton's on the IL, has an OPS plus above 100 still. We're in June. It's been 60, 70 games, and still this lineup is producing. That is impressive. And all these guys are still performing. Impressive. I know Jose Abreu isn't an MVP, but his OPS plus still above 110. I know Yasmani Grandal's hitting a .170. OPS plus 121. These guys are still above average hitters statistically. And they've had guys step up too. Brian Goodwin has been a welcome addition. No, he's struggling now, but still speedy. Covers the outfield. Still has an OPS plus above 100. That's the way I judge this right now for this team. Because it's so rare to find 5 guys in a lineup with an above 100 OPS plus. Now the Cubs barely have anyone. Other teams barely have anyone for that many players with that number. People need to understand how difficult that is. to maintain an OPS plus above 100. OPS plus takes into account ballpark factors and also compares you to your peers. 100 is average. If you are above 100 at any capacity, it's cause for celebration. If you're at 120, 130, you're a superstar. 150, MVP. So Luis Robert, when he got hurt, 129. Yoan Moncada, today, 125. This is still a talented team. There may be issues, they might be losing, but they're still talented. I know that your mean Mercedes issue has been brought up a lot. Let's send him down. Let's take him out. That may not be necessary. I understand he's really fallen off since April. We know that. Now he's hitting 270, and his OPS plus stands at just 103. 28-year-old rookie. It's an issue, I know. I don't think it's necessary yet to send him down. Technically, he's still an above-average hitter. He still hits major league pitching at an above-average pace. I saw articles and quote-unquote conspiracies that he's been struggling since he hit the 3-0 home run against Minnesota and Tony La Russa cussed him out. That's untrue. You could try and find that bridge and connect the two events. They're unrelated. Those are hardcore Tony La Russa haters who are just reaching and grasping for something. That's not true. Don't think for a second that that's true. And Ben Verlander, Fox Sports, put that out there. I was actually shocked when I saw that. Really? You're a Fox employee and you're peddling this nonsense. And I know people within the White Sox community, people who hate Tony La Russa, who even said that's ridiculous. And it's true. If your mean Mercedes could not take La Russa calling him out and asking him to be better and do something different, then he wasn't ever meant for the major leagues. Then he's not a coachable player. So if you want to peddle that narrative, you're actually hurting Mercedes, not La Russa. Sorry. The lineup is fine. The pitching rotation is actually still fine. Giolito's ERA is going down to 3.8. Dallas Keuchel's right at 4. Lynn and Rodon are still dominating. Both of those guys should be all-stars. And Dylan Cease is at 4 as well. Would it be nice to see Giolito, Keuchel, and Cease trim those ERAs down? Yes, and I believe by the end of the season they will, especially Giolito. I could see his ERA being under 3 by September. Very possible. He'll get on a run. Not worried about him. Keuchel's not an issue either. Even if his ERA is around 4, Keuchel eats innings. That's his MO. 81 so far this year. And come playoff time, he has experience. He'll be a very solid number 3, number 4 guy. Worst case, he comes out of the bullpen. And nothing wrong with a southpaw coming out of the bullpen and going 3 or 4 innings in long relief. No issue there. This rotation, in my opinion, is still one of the best in baseball. And it's only going to get better. Remember, Kopech is hurt, and they haven't really used it in that capacity yet. That's a solid 6-man rotation. Realistically, if they wanted to go that route, they could do it easily. So there are no issues with the rotation. The lineup has been fluctuating a bit, but you can't argue with the numbers and the OPS plus. The big issue has been the bullpen. And if you honestly believed that the bullpen would just keep up, you're crazy. We all know that over time, guys get taxed, they get tired. They don't have what they had at the beginning of the year. They lose some strength, lose some velocity. They're fatigued. And when things get really serious, sometimes they can't come through. That's the nature of a major league bullpen. That's just a general thing. I love the Cubs bullpen right now. I highly doubt by the end of the year, everyone in that bullpen will have an ERA under 3. It just won't happen. There's going to be a bad outing here, bad outing there. Some guys may lose confidence over time. There might be some shifting and switching. Same happening here. Look, Liam Hendricks has been great. 2.03 ERA plus. But Cody Youre has been a problem. Aaron Bummer has been an issue. Evan Marshall. Now, I have a feeling they could still change, and there's still time. But Russa has to make sure he doesn't cost the team too many games by continuing to trot out the same guys who struggle. That's going to be their big issue. Matt Foster, too, that's just atrocious. Can't have a 6 ERA. And I think the time of reckoning is here, where a lot of these guys who are called upon a lot are going to see their roles change. If I were Russa right now, put in Youre for mop-up duty. Same with Foster. Now, a couple of years ago, on the Mets, Edwin Diaz was the worst reliever in baseball. 8 blown saves, 5 losses, 5 ERA, and they just acquired him in a big trade. They used him in mop-up duty by the end of the year. And they told him, you have to re-earn your spot. And he did. Now he's great again. Make these guys earn it. Nothing should be given to anybody here. So maybe they were great a couple of weeks ago, now they're not. Goodbye. Baseball is a what have you done for me lately sport. Not, well, he was good a couple of weeks ago, now he's struggling, I'm still going to put him out there and have him pitch his way out of it. Pitching your way out of it does not work, just like in the NBA. Oh, he'll shoot his way out of this slump. Well, if you do that, you'll be ending up like the 76ers. You'll be out of the playoffs, and you'll blow it. There is a time for doing that, but after a certain period, it becomes frivolous, and changes need to be made. The Sox, at the trade deadline, need bullpen pieces. That's their number one concern. Maybe another bat, too. Another DH, another outfielder. That's it. And even then, if they don't get anybody, they might be okay when Robert and Jimenez return. Those are 2 big bats. That's like a trade deadline times 2 when they come back. But the main thing is, don't panic. This is the 4th time I've had to tell people, White Sox fans, not to panic. You're fine. 43-30. Top of the division. Yeah, you're going through a rough patch right now. Who doesn't? There'd be an issue if you weren't going through a rough patch. Just be glad it's happening now and not in September or October when the playoffs start. Here is your chance to correct anything that's gone wrong. And obviously, there are some needs. Another outfielder, maybe a DH, and a bullpen help. That's it. That's what you need. So go address it at the trade deadline. That's what you should be doing here. And there are some bright spots on this team. Tim Anderson, still doing well. Moncada, still doing well. Abreu, coming along. Grandal, too. I mean, there are some good players, and guys still are performing. The rotation has been amazing. There's just no need to panic yet. There was no need to panic when they were 8-9. There was no need to panic after the Yermin Mercedes incident, and there was no need to panic a couple of weeks ago when the Pythagorean win-loss wasn't adding up. And there's no reason to panic now. Every team goes through this. You are not a real contender unless you struggle a bit. Would it be nice if they weren't losing to Pittsburgh? Sure, but who cares? They're still a major league team. And the best part is you have time to rectify this. Trade deadline didn't pass yet. Here's your chance to really evaluate who you want to keep and who you want to be a part of this stretch run. You have time to do it. Have about a month here. Take it seriously. There is still time and the opportunity to make your team better. So do it. No need to panic here. No need to worry. Remember this too. What year is it? What year are we in when it comes to the White Sox development? Oh yeah, that's right. Their first full year, they're supposed to be contenders. That doesn't mean we should excuse bad play or not call them out, but it does mean that this is part of the process. These are growing pains that you're going to see. Happened to the Cubs, 2015. Sure, they might have won 97 games, but they didn't win the division, and they lost in the NLCS. This happens to everybody. If it didn't happen to the White Sox, I'd be worried because I'd expect it to come in the postseason. That's the last place you want these issues to pop up. Let them pop up now, before the trade deadline and before you lose your opportunity to improve yourself. That's how you have to look at this, Sox fans. Not the world's ending and our team actually sucks now. Again. Oh, and it's Russa's fault too. Not the way you want to look at things. Come on. You're better than that. You don't want that. This team is not over. The sky isn't falling. You're fine. You're fine. You're 43-30. You have a 94% chance to make the postseason. You're good. Nothing to worry about. You know, it'd be different if this turned into a 10-game, 12-game losing streak. If they became a 500 team after being up so much, then I'd say, well, yeah, that's a problem. You're not there yet. And you won't be. You won't be there. Things are going to change for this team, and everything will be okay. What did I say to open up this show? How do we worry so much? How do we do it? Everything always has a way of working itself out. May not be pretty, may not be the desired way, might be a bit unorthodox, a bit weird, but it works out. It'll work out for the White Sox, trust me. Maybe they won't win the World Series this year, but they will get to the ALCS. You can bet on that. And this is year one of many. They have a 3 to 7 year window, realistically. So this is year one. Long way to go. Lots of people to evaluate, to trade for, to face, to deal with. Imagine next year. Next year, they should be the consensus World Series favorite. Year after two. You have time. Don't let a minor stretch of 5 games bog you down. Not worth it. Not worth worrying about this. Yet, it hasn't gotten worse. It's been fine. Don't need to worry about your team. And you're acting like everything has just gone wrong. No, it's been a bad bullpen, really. And a small regression at the plate, too. Baseball, in case you didn't know, it's 162 games. You are not going to maintain your production, the same production, from game 1 to game 162. There will be ebbs and flows. There always are to a season. Just remember that. Keep that in mind. This isn't football, not the NBA. It's baseball. There were teams back in April and May who we thought were good. The Royals were killing it. I told everybody they'd flop out, but people thought the Royals would be something. They aren't. People thought the Cardinals would be something. Well, they're 500 after getting Nolan Arenado. So trust me when I say everything will be fine. No need to panic. No need to worry. I love the concern for your team. Really, I do. But there's no need to be concerned right now. Now, if you want to break down what's going on, like I just did, told you it's bullpen and it's a regression at the plate, fine. But there's no reason to say, well, it's over and what are we going to do? I'm worried, I'm concerned. Nothing to be worried about. Nothing to be concerned about. Let your team play. Let them be who we all know them to be. And I guarantee you, everything will be just fine. More to come here on Sports Talk Chicago. My interview with Tony Andracki comes up next, so stay tuned.